Well, yesterday the Senate decided to reject the Republican proposal to repeal and replace Obamacare. Meanwhile, during a news conference, President Trump let the public know that he was, quote, disappointed in Attorney General Jeff Sessions. These comments come after the Attorney General recused himself from the federal investigation in the 26th interference with Russia. The president's Twitter even went as far as to comment on the Attorney General, but has yet to say whether or not he will fire him. Joining us now to discuss this and more, we welcome now our political commentator, Lee Bynes, to the set. And first of all, let's talk about the repeal and the replace, the Senate vote yesterday, and the fact that it went and you had to have the vice president cast a tie-breaking vote, but then yet and still when it comes to repeal and replace, not enough votes yet to be able to do this. What does this mean for the Republican Party?
Well, I think we can go back to what we talked about last week, as a matter of fact, that because the president is in such dire straits with regards to his approval ratings, with regards to his ability to communicate with people where they will believe him anymore, that the Senate, as well as the rest of the Congress, has reached a point where, you know, we really don't have to follow his lead anymore, because we have to pay more attention to our constituents, and I believe that's where this is going. We talked about this last week regarding whether or not he would be able to put enough pressure on them to back his play. He put a lot of pressure on them. In fact, he went back to a Democratic line to hit them with, to say that, look, you've been going with this thing for 7 years, talking about we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare, and now that we have an opportunity, or they have an opportunity to do it, the Republicans are falling short. And as we discussed previously, and have to go on more and more with this, is the fact that, yeah, they did discuss repealing Obamacare and replacing it until they found out what it was going to be replaced with. And once that was out of the bag, nobody wanted to defend that thing, and that's why the president had forced them to take the vote. They took the vote, and then they came up right behind that and said, look, we got to have something.
Well, let me go here. I mean, we also did see the president be very vocal about supporting this, and also calling out senators who did not support this and saying, we need you to vote in favor of this. We've never really seen this from a president before.
No, but here's the deal. The president placed the Senate in an untenable position simply because of the fact that it was impossible to replace Obamacare with something better, with something cheaper, and would cover more people. If you dissect that information, that is universal health care. It's no way in hell that you're going to be able to provide universal health care or anything close to it in a free market system. I'm going to use this little bottle right here. I happen to have glaucoma in this particular eye. I need this medication in order to continue to see out of it. Because we live in a free market system, the cost of this tiny bottle is not even filled up. We're not even talking about an ounce. Retail values out for about $300. Do I have to pay that? No. I have a small copayment, but that $300 is being charged to the insurance company, and because the process works this way, where the free market allows a business, a company, a pharmaceutical to charge whatever they want, and supposedly competition will balance it out in the long run. But that rarely ever happens, and that's the only reason why something like this small, which I'm only going to get like a few drops out of it per month, costs $300 to the insurance company. Now, if you spread that out across the industry, you understand why this has turned into a $1 trillion business. And until Congress comes to the point where they realize that we have to cap costs, and in order to cap costs, you're going to have to attack the free market system in order to bring down the cost of health care in this country. There is no other way to do it, and I'll stand by that.
Well, this bill still is going to get a whole lot of debate. We know it's still getting debate. Also, there's going to be amendments that are going to be filed coming up with that. People saying this could be a very long process, given the fact that if these amendments continue to come forward, and you also have on the part of some senators who say we still haven't really seen the bill in its full totality. What are we to make of this?
And the reason why you haven't seen it, there was only 13 Republicans who actually crafted this bill. The other 37 Republicans never had a say in what was going to come out of Mitch McConnell's process. And once they saw it, it's like, it's just no way that we can deal with this. So President Trump, again, placed them in a situation where they cannot win. You cannot win. You will not get anything better than you already got right now unless somebody comes up with a better plan. Now, I'm taking a look at the Democrats. They came out this week. Of course, their message got muddled because of the Sessions deal and everything like that. But they came out with a better deal plan where they were going to offer some alternatives for where the Republicans or the GOP is going right now. The thing is, I took a look at it. I looked at the leadership. I looked at the plan. And the only thing that was in there was a few bullet points that they stole from Bernie Sanders' campaign when he was running during the summer. So, and by the way, there was no mention in there with regards to how they would deal with fixing the Affordable Care Act.
I'm going to come back to this, and we'll probably have to finish up on this next week, but I want to go to our other story talking about the president and his vocalism towards, or his being vocal about Jeff Sessions, Attorney General, saying the fact that, you know, it was bad that he recused himself, but looking at it right now, talking about he would have hired Jeff Sessions if he knew that he was going to recuse himself. Where are we going here?
Firstly, the timeline is off. When Jeff Sessions took the job, he had no idea that he would be recusing himself. He hadn't even been questioned by Congress yet. So when he went up there in Congress and he screwed up and he forgot to acknowledge the fact that he did have a few conversations with the Russians, he had no alternative but to do so. Most of those on the Hill right now are going to go along with Jeff Sessions simply because of the fact that too many people are aware of the fact that the only way that Trump will have any chance of scuttling this investigation is to get rid of Sessions, get somebody in there who has the power to fire Robert Mueller, because Robert Mueller is coming after him from a multitude of angles now. Whenever these special counsels are set up, they have broad authority to look anywhere they possibly can to find wrongdoing. Nobody in New York City is going to make billions of dollars without bending a few rules and breaking a few laws. It just does not happen that way. And so now that he's under tough scrutiny, his son has been caught up in it, his son-in-law has been caught up in it right now, he's in panic mode. There's no other way to put it. So he's got to do these things to shut this investigation down. It will not go over well with the public. It will not go over well in Congress, but he's up against the wall right now, and pretty much everybody knows it. So he brings this guy in, Scaramucci, right? And Scaramucci is supposedly going to turn the tide and fix things. But
replacing Sean Spicer, who used
replacing
to be the White
Sean
House
Spicer,
spokesperson.
and then there's a little bit of scuttlebutt going on that's saying that he may be moving into Reese Priebus's spot. But I mean, I'm looking at this guy carefully, and to me, he looks like a Vegas lounge act, to be honest with you. I don't see much more than that. He's the kind of guy that would upsell grieving families in a funeral parlor. I'm not saying this to be glib or anything like that, but this individual has about as
pretty harsh there.
Is about as trustworthy as Donald Trump himself. He's looking for a slick, clean, somebody could come in there and talk a big game and throw you off balance. But the bottom line is that he cannot change the messenger. And as long as he has to work under the auspices of Donald Trump, he's going to have the same problems everybody else did. And as you mentioned earlier in your remarks on whether or not Jeff Sessions' job at this point, does he have job security? When you're working for Donald Trump, nobody has job security. He could fire you in a minute, and he seems to enjoy it.
Lee Bonds gets the final word. All right, Lee, thanks much.
Good to be here.
All right, I got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more shows. Stay with us. We're coming right back right after this.